Alright, as promised, here is a more in-depth video of my USP 45. The gun itself is from KWA or KC, and it's been quite heavily modified by me, and I will go through the modifications I've done. So in the front here I have a replica, I think it's Element. It's a replica of the H&K UTL light. Extremely bright actually, it's even more bright than the Scout light I have on my 416. The slide is from C Parts, extremely nice details on it. The finish is flawless except from a small scratch here, which annoys me, but yeah, it's here. Other than that, the finish on this slide is really good. I absolutely adore it. It's in stainless steel, so it weighs a lot. I will talk about that later on in the video. You have a slide stop and a slide release here, also in stainless steel from C Parts. And the slide, I bought it in a set with the outer barrel, also in stainless steel, in black. I really like the combination of a black outer barrel and a silver slide. I think it looks super cool. I have upgraded the hammer spring to a 150% to hit the valve on the magazine harder to release more gas, and I use a high PSI gas, so I needed to upgrade the hammer spring for the hammer in order to be able to hit the valve to release some gas. I've heard that a more high-powered hammer spring might break the stock trigger, so I bought a real steel USP 45 trigger that I can install if this breaks. The sights are from Detonator. They are Trigicon style. Let me see here if I can focus. Yeah, there we go. You have the Trigicon trademarks there, and also on the front sight. There we go. The back or rear one was really easy to install, but the front one was extremely hard to get on. I actually broke the first one I bought. I bent it so bad that I had to throw it away and buy a new one, because the groove here is too small, or the sight is too big, so you need to sand it down quite much in order for it to fit, and you might need to use some glue when you get it in there, because it might be a little bit too loose once you get it in. But once it's done, it's worth the effort, because I think it's really nice. They are not self-luminous, so they will not glow in the dark by themselves. You need to charge them with light, so they are luminous. The recoil spring is from Rawtec. It's a 150% recoil spring, so it's a much more oomph than the stock one. The slide comes with a recoil spring from C Parts. However, that is not as stiff as the one from Rawtec, according to me. So I kept with the Rawtec one. And I've also installed a Rawtec MPAS, so I can change how much gas is sent to propel the BB and how much is sent to the blowback. You might need to fiddle around with that in different situations. For example, if it's colder, you might need to change the proportions, how much is sent to the BB and how much that's used for the blowback mechanism. I have also changed the inner barrel and hop-up assembly to one from ESD, so the hop-up is more efficient and better, since you don't have just one point of contact. You have 2 point of contacts on the BB, like two small teeth that push down on the BB, so you get more accuracy and range out of that. I think that's everything here. Let's move on to the magazine. As I said, I've changed the valves. This one is from ESD, as with the inner barrel. note that you must change the smallest O-ring for them to keep the gas in the magazine, otherwise they would leak everything out of here. So I took the smallest O-ring from the stock valves and put on this high flow valve from ESD, and then it keeps the gas really good in the magazine. Now, as I said, you might have issues with gas or gas efficiency, etc. And that has to do with a couple of things. First off, the slide and slide assembly is extremely heavy, because this whole slide assembly with everything installed weighs half of a kilo. I'm not sure how much that is in pound. You need to Google that. So it requires a lot more gas in order to pull this back. However, you can use the stock recoil spring instead of a more enhanced recoil spring, because the enhanced recoil spring makes it even harder to push back the slide. However, the stock one is weaker, so it takes ages for the slide to come forward again. So I stick with the enhanced recoil spring from Ratec, and since I don't use my pistol that much, I think the gas efficiency is sufficient for me. You might not be able to get a full mag out of the pistol, depending on where you live. I live in Sweden, and here, well, the temperature can vary quite a bit. So in colder days, you might not be able to get more than a few shots out of it. And on warmer days, well, then you might be able to get a full magazine out of it. It depends on the situation, and that's why I also bought the NPAS, so I can change how much gas that's used to blow back the slide. And that's also why I bought high flow valves, so I can get as much gas as possible to pull the slide back. The gas I've used, well, I've tried quite a lot, but now I'm using Nuprol 4.0, which is over 200 psi. It's the most high-powered gas I've found. It's mostly used for rifles, but since this slide assembly is so heavy, I decided to go with that. Okay, so let's weigh the whole gun. Now keep in mind that I have this light on, so it might be a little heavier than your standard upgraded USP. So you can look at my sexy scales here. Let's turn it on. And you can see that it weighs, well, 1.25 kilos. So it's very heavy. If you remove this one, well, approximately 1 kilo perhaps. And this one weighs, the slide assembly weighs half of that, so half of a kilo on the slide assembly, approximately. So yes, it's very heavy, but I really like the looks of it, and also how it sounds when you shoot and just when you release the slide. I really like that sound it does, and when you shoot it, it's really loud and it's really clunky when you shoot it compared to the more, well, the gun comes with an aluminium slide, and that's not as sexy of a sound. So, and since I don't use my pistol that much, I figured I could go with this. Okay, so that's my in-depth video of the USP 45. That's been, well, completely upgraded, I would say. If you have any comments, please put them below, and like this video and share it if you'd like to. Thanks for watching. Take care.